what you've just said is essentially it's a real synergy and collaboration between all the partners, the creators, you guys, Accessibility, and the investors, and all the intelligence and consciousness they bring to the table. And you're just trying to distill that into the best solution possible to make accessibility, to make that difference in the world, to provide access to the 25% of people that struggle to access the internet or read a website or buy something online. Now, there must be a real tension too, because you've got global competitors, I'm sure. And because essentially, as people watch what you're doing, they're going, we can copy what you're doing. And this goes on all the time. So it turns into a bit of an arms race, doesn't it? So from my observation, I've been involved with startups, been on the board of them, invested in them, sweat for equity deals as well with them. And essentially in software as a service type companies, not dissimilar to yours. But there's two components I see that's really important. Number one is a technology arms race. In other words, you've got to have a team of really smart developers building the best tool possible. Number two, there's a marketing arms race. You've got to get out to the world and tell your story before your competitors tell a better story. Tell me about that and how you see that.
Yeah, so in terms of competition, that's correct. There is an arm race towards, making, a software that can just solve accessibility. We are there for 3 years now, or 2 years now that our software does it. What we're seeing today is mostly the second part, the telling the story, because we still don't have competition in technology. We're still the only ones that can do that fully automatically. You just install our single line of code. That's it. It just makes your site accessible. And we're still the only ones that can do that automatically. But we're seeing so many other, services, hybrid type solutions, one that provide only like an accessibility interface that solves like 10 or 20 maximum % of compliance requirements and things like that. But they take, that's really funny, they take a snapshot of our site and our marketing and our messages, and they just copy it. It's it's really crazy to see that. You see our headline today in like 4 different websites. Literally, our headline on 4 different websites. Not even with a variation. It's just in the 4 different websites. Look, so you have that, but we are living that story. We felt and feel that from the ground. You can't replicate our moves. You can replicate the title that we come up with. You can replicate, the design that we come up with. You can replicate like the productions, right? But you can't replicate everything that we've went through. You can't replicate what we felt from the ground. You can't replicate the feedback that we got from people. You can't replicate that. And those are the things that drove that story. Those are the things that drove that design. Those are the things that drove that messaging. So you can replicate the end message, but the message changes all the time. And if you don't find your own thing, your own experience, and you just copy that, you may do fine, but you will never become the leader. Never. And so I'm looking at that and I'm flattered, because I see like four of my competitors is copying and pasting my title. It's crazy. But I'm not worried. I'm not worried because we live that. We literally live that, and the messaging is changing all the time. And we're just about to change, in like a few weeks, we're about to upload a new website with different messaging and a lot of different things. And like 2 of the competitors just released their copied messaging like in the last month. 1 month. So it's like, by the time we change that, you take that, So I'm not worried about that. I'm also not worried in terms of, the technology arm race, because I really, really, really want to have competition in technology, because it will, one, drive us to be better, and two, it will drive the entire industry. By the end of the day, the industry, or the potential, the market is insanely huge. If we take just the United States, we have 31 million businesses that manage 350 million websites, and all of them must be accessible. You have room for 30 companies that all of them are huge. Obviously, you won't have 30 companies. You will eventually have 3, 4, and one big leader, maybe 2 big leaders, and an additional 3 that are smaller. But the more companies that you have that can really solve what you do, the more companies that can market, and the more companies that can raise awareness, and the more companies that put the problem out there and make people see that they also need to become accessible. So it just opens the market. As long as it's a really big market, it's not a problem, quite the opposite. So I'm not worried about that. But I do want to see competitors finding their own, their own stories with their own experiences.